If you're creating in GarageBand and perhaps you're not a keyboard player or you don't understand musical theory, but you want to make a track like the one playing right now, well, in this video I'm going to show you how we can use the scale features here in GarageBand to create some really cool and varied sounds. Let's go. Hi, my name is Pete. This is Studio Live today, where I help you create, record and release your best music. And in this video, we're going to be creating some 12-bar blues using the major blues scale built in to GarageBand. And you don't need any musical knowledge to do this. So let's jump in and take a look now. And here is our 12-bar blues that I prepared earlier. And this is what we'll be recreating in this video. So let's just take a listen to what it sounds like right now. So you can hear there, we've got the upright bass, we've got Mason here on drums, and we've got a flute playing a bit of a jazz flute kind of sound. So just 3 tracks, and you can see here that we've got these separated out into sections. Now we're going to have to do a little small amount of theory, but don't worry, it's not going to be too involved. You don't need to know about music to understand this. It's a simple concept. You just need to understand what a 12-bar blues riff is all about so that you can work out how we actually create it as we go along. So what we're going to do is we're going to create this from scratch. So I'm going to go all the way out to my songs, and then I'm going to tap on Create Document, and then we are going to come in. And now the first thing we're going to add is our drummer. So let's tap on drummers, we'll go more drummers, we'll grab our man Mason here, and eventually, here he is. Now the first thing we need to do, so 12-bar blues needs to be 12 bars, not surprisingly. So we're going to tap on our plus here, which is our song sections. We're going to tap this automatic, take automatic off, and make this 12 bars. So now we have 12 bars ready to go. So what I like to do, so the sound that I chose here is Neil's Barn for whatever reason. You can try around and play with whatever you want. And then I brought it up here on the cymbals so that we had a little bit of a ride cymbal going on. And the swing, I wanted 1/8 heavy swing because we need that do, that sort of sound. So let's see, just with those default settings, what Mason is sounding like here. He's sounding good, but you know what? I've forgotten one thing. And that is our tempo. So we need to kick up the tempo a notch here. So at the moment it's down here at 85. That's too low. We need a tempo that goes a bit like this. So by the way, to go to tempo, we go on our settings at the top right there, we tap on tempo. And now we can actually tap it in. So we want something a bit like this. Do, 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 do. Yeah, about 140. So now let's take a listen to Mason. Yeah, that's going to be cool. So that's that do-do-do-do. It's got that sort of vibe to it. That's what we want here. So we'll go with that for Mason for now. Let's tap on our track view, come back to our track view, and now let's add in that all-important bass line. Now let's add in our next track. We're going to tap the plus button in the bottom left here, and we're going to add our upright bass, but I'm not going to use the bass instrument. I could come in here and grab our bass and use that, but I'm actually going to use the keyboard because I find it a lot easier to use a keyboard instrument. You'll notice here that here under other, we have all of these. We have our guitars, our strings, our woodwind, our brass instruments, and we have our upright bass. So we're going to tap on upright bass, and now we can play using our keyboard so much easier. Now this is where our theory lesson is going to come in, and it'll be very quick and painless, I promise, but we just need to understand this so we understand how the 12-bar blues works. Now 12-bar blues uses the basic 1-4-5 pattern over a 12-bar period, hence why it's called the 12-bar blues. So to explain this, let's go in and change our time signature first of all. Not our time signature, but our key signature. So we'll tap on the settings up here. We'll tap on key signature. Actually, I've already set it to B flat major. It defaults to C major, but I'm going to use B flat major in this particular track because it's a key that would be very hard to play in on the keyboard. It's got a lot of flats in there, so it's got a lot of black notes. So if you're not a keyboard player, you'd often struggle to play, which is why I'm going to show you the cool method that we have here. Now we're going to leave follow song key off. So turn that off if it's already on for reasons that we'll show you in just a moment. We'll tap that away now, and what we can do is if I tap on the chords button in the top right here, you'll see here that GarageBand will automatically give me the chords that are going to be relevant to that particular key. And for 12-bar blues, we're using the 1, 4, and 5. So the 1 is our B flat here, our 4 is our E flat, and our 5 is our F. So it's basically just a da, 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 and they're kind of the common 3-chord progressions that you have in a lot of popular music. So that's what we're going to use here, but we'll turn that off for now because we're going to do something a little bit cooler. We're going to use our scale. So let's now tap on this third from the right button, these 2 little notes here, and now we can put on our scale. Now we can use any of these scales that we like, but in this one, we're going to use our major blues scale. We're going to tap major blues. And now what we have here is we have our blues scale. So if we play from one end to the other, it's going to sound like this. So this is the basis of our song, and from here, it doesn't matter which of these notes you're hitting, they're going to be in the scale. They're going to be in tune. You don't have to know about sharps or flats or any of that. You can play what you want here and just experiment and get a pattern that's going to work. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to record out our first pattern. So in a 12-bar blues, the first 4 bars are going to be at our root note. So they're going to be in B flat. So let's hit record, and I'm going to record out a riff that's going to be our first 4 bars of our bass line. Oh, and just before we do that, a quick tip here. What I've also done is come in here to my mix and gone to track settings, and under velocity sensitivity, I've turned this off because it's just going to give me a more uniform and even performance. Yes, I'll lose a little bit in terms of the variety, but on the touch screen here, I might sort of tap too hard, too soft, so I want a uniform performance at least for my bass line here. So let's now hit record and record in our first 4 bars. All right, we're going to hit stop there. So we've got our first 4 bars recorded. We go back to our track view and they look like that. Let's just play it back. Cool, and don't worry too much about timing at this stage because we can come back in and do some quantizing at the end, which I've shown you before. I'm going to use that triplet quantization I did a video about recently, which you can check out the link to that above and below. So we'll fix up the timing of these notes. Anyway, let's now grab let's now go back to our instrument. So we'll tap on the keyboard there. And now this is where the trick comes in, because you'll notice here that if we want to vary this, if we want to be at anything except the B flat, then we're going to have to change this scale, yeah? So we need to actually make an adjustment here. So the easiest way I've found to do this is to come in here to our key signature again. So we'll tap on our settings, we'll go key signature, and now you remember, this is where this theory comes in. Our number 4 note is going to be the E flat. So we're going to tap on E flat, and now we have our E flat ready to go. So this is going to help us build out the next 2 bars because we have 4 bars of our root note and then we have 2 bars of our 4th. So let's just hit record and you'll see how quickly we can start building this out. We'll do 2 bars of E flat. There we go, there's our 2 bars of E flat. And now we go back to our B flat because we do 2 more bars of B flat. So we'll tap, we'll go B flat, and we'll hit record and record this in. Okay, there we go. We are good to go. Oh, I think I went a little bit over there. Yeah, I did. So we'll just make sure we record from there because we are now doing our last 2 bars. So we're now going to go, not surprisingly, up to our 5th note. So we're going to tap. We're going to go to our key signature. Let's go to F now. Now I mentioned the follow song key. If you have that on, what it's going to do is it's going to shift everything else because it's going to want to put it into the same key signature. So if you're finding that it's moving your notes around, it's probably because you've got that follow song key on. We don't want that on, but we'll leave it as is. Now, so this is what we're going to do here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to do this for 1 bar and then go back down to our 4th. So this will be a little quick 1 bar recording. So there's 1 bar of that. And then we need to go back down to our E flat major and do 1 bar of this, hit record. And then go right back to our root note. And what you can do is you can go to the 1 and then back up to the 4, which is what I did in my original version. So I might do that again here. So we'll go B flat. So we'll go and hit record. So we've got that. And then I'm just going to do this and we'll go back up to E flat major. And yeah, I just want a little sort of endy bit here. So we'll just do it on this F note at the end here just to finish us off. Alrighty, so we'll go back to our screen here, and yeah, that seemed like it was all a little bit all over the place, and we might have a tiny bit of cleaning up here to do, which we'll find out as we go along through. But let's just play back our whole 12 bar beat and see how this sounds out of the box. Very cool. Yeah, I'm really liking that. So you can see that, yeah, it takes a little bit of fiddling around, but if you're someone that doesn't know your notes, you don't know your chords, you don't know your scales, all you need to know is that 1, 4, 5, and you can make yourself some blues. The same for, you can do rock, you can do pop, you can do anything like this, just using these different chords and these different scales. And the fact that you can change those up helps you get away from just that root note. Otherwise, you're kind of stuck in that root chord and you're not going to have a lot of variety to your tracks. So there you go. We've got our drums and our bass laid down. Let's get ourselves some flute. Actually, before we do that, we're just going to jump in here to the mixer and go to our track settings for this bass, and we'll go to our quantization and add in some triplet eighth note quantization. This is just going to tighten up the track a little bit and make it sync better with our drums. Let's just take a listen. Yeah, so it's just correcting some of those timing issues that we had before, so we're good to go. Okay, now let's jump in and add this flute. So we're going to hit plus again. We're here in our keyboard. We're going to tap more sounds, and under other, our very top instrument here is our flute. Now you could use a clarinet, an oboe, a bassoon, a French horn. You could use any of these others, some strings, some guitars, whatever you like, using the exact same method. I just happen to like the flute sound that we have here in GarageBand, so I'm going to choose that, because it just sounds really cool, especially with a jazz track or a blues track like this. Having that jazz flute kind of sound is going to be really cool. So we need to do the same sort of thing again. So we're going to tap on our settings icon here and make sure that we're in B flat major to start with, which we are, and our follow song key is off. And then we're going to go to our scale again. We're going to tap on the scale option here, tap on major blues, and now, yep, we've got our flute. Now we're a little bit high here, so what I'm going to do, we'll change this to scroll, and we'll scroll ourselves down. So now, that's better. That's the register that we want to be in. So if you find you're too high, too low, turn on your scroll and you can scroll your keyboard up or down. So now what we have to do is record ourselves a little bit of an improvised kind of melody using this flute over the top of our bass and drums. Okay, so let's finally add in our flute. We're going to tap on the plus button here in the bottom left. We're going to tap more sounds, and then our very top sound here under the other category on the left is our flute. You could use a clarinet, an oboe, a French horn, you could use strings, guitars, any instrument. The same principles apply. I just wanted to show this using the blues because the blues are cool, and this flute sounds really cool, especially with a jazzy, bluesy kind of track like this. So let's just set ourselves up and then get ready to record. So once again, we're going to tap in the top right and make sure that our key signature is in B major to start, which it is. Follow song key is off, which it is. Now let's tap on our scale option here and we'll tap major blues. And here we are. We're ready to go. But the one thing I'll probably do is let's go to our scroll and scroll the screen down. We want to be playing down in this sort of register. So if you get your instruments and they're too high or too low, remember you can scroll them up and down, even in this view, and find a better place to play. So let's now tap on track view and come back to here. And now we're ready to go. We're going to hit record and we're going to record our first 4 bars of our flute part. Okay, there's our first 4 bars. We'll come to bar 5 here. We'll tap there, go to our E flat major, and make sure we're ready to play and hit record again. Alright, so wasn't in love with that part, but let's just leave it in there for now, because now we'll go back to B flat major and play our next 2 bars. All right, we'll hit that D. All right, and then we'll come in here to our last little section here. Make sure I'm in the right spot, back in my track view. Yep, line up there and come back to my instrument. So we've done our first sort of 8 bars here. And now we need to go up onto our F major, which we will do like that. Something like that. So just for 1 bar, and then back down to our E flat. And we'll get the hang of this. It might be a little bit fiddly, but again, we don't have to know the notes. It's all here for us. So we'll hit record. Do something like that. And then back on to our B flat major at the end here. Something like that here towards the end. All right. Okay, so there we go. We've got our flute track recorded to go along here. Now, it might not be perfect. We can edit this, so you can come in here and edit your notes here. You can edit your timing. You can edit your velocity. I've got a heap of editing videos, which I will link up above and down below right now if you want to learn how to edit in GarageBand. But let's just take a listen. I'm just going to play back this as is straight out of my recording here and see what it sounds like. So you can hear there that I've probably recorded, well I have, the velocity that I've had in the first one was good, and then I went really soft on these others here, so I needed to pay a bit more attention to those. I can go in there and manually update the velocity now, which I'll do, just to make sure that that is higher. But yeah, you probably just want to re-record that and just remember to be hitting those, because instruments like the flute, you do want that velocity sensitivity to give you that different sort of feel, but you don't necessarily want it as different as I had it there, because it came out good at the start and then it sort of dropped down. Whereas if we compare that, let's just go back to my previous track that I prepared here, you'll hear the difference here is that I've really played these at about the same velocity. Let's just take a listen. So yeah, you can hear the velocity is a lot more consistent. You can hear that it's a completely different song, and this is why it's so cool to use this, because you can improvise. Like I tried to create almost the same track, but my bass line was different, my drums were slightly different, my flute sound was slightly different. You can really get some variety here, but you don't have to worry about hitting wrong notes. You don't have to worry about getting the wrong keys and the wrong scales. Just remember that 1-4-5 pattern when you're doing something like this, especially a blues sort of track like this, or experiment with those other chords. As I mentioned before, if you come in and you look at the key signatures here, you can actually change the key signature to whatever other key you want. And if you're actually hearing your instrument, then the chords that it's going to give you in the chord section here are going to match up with that key. So you can't really go far wrong with GarageBand if you let GarageBand do its thing and help you out. So there you go. That is going to do it. I hope you found this interesting and that you can use this sort of technique. Again, you can use it in a variety of different ways, but I hope it helps you in our future GarageBand projects. And there you have it, the simple way to create a 12-bar blues track here in GarageBand. And of course, you can use any other type of scale and get similar results. Thanks for watching. If you've got comments, questions, or suggestions, you can leave those down below, and I'll see you on the next video. Hey, thanks for sticking around. I hope it is as beautiful in your part of the world as it is here right now. We've got 2 more videos linked down below you can check out. You can also subscribe to the channel by clicking on the Studio Live Today icon, or head over to studiolivetoday.com for even more audio goodness.